Hello everybody, welcome to the UKSS Dhaham Battle Racing League. This is round 9 and we are in Japan for an endurance race. This is gonna be a 200% race, and since the game doesn't support it, we're gonna have a lobby of a first 100% race and then the second one. Okay, let's switch to the game. This is also gonna be our last round of the second season of the UKSS Dhaham Battle Racing League. Uh, Here on Twitch, the Division 1 is running, while on YouTube you can find Division 2. And for the next season, the third one, we had the first one on F1 2020, and the third one will start later on in 2022, probably around March. So let's see. Barks has left the session, so maybe maybe I've lost some messages. Let me put the logo on, and okay, so yeah, probably yeah, we need to restart the session. So we're gonna wait, and in the meantime, why don't we have a look at the standings? So let's start from the driver's standings, and here they are after Baku on round 8. Mr. Dibro is the one leading the pack with 94 points, and he has his chance to win the championship today. He's not mathematically the winner because Nicolas Boita is still in contention, and also is Dershark, but only on only if some tragedy happens to Mr. Dibro, because if Dershark wins plus a fastest lap, then he will get up to 100 point, and Mr. Dibro needs to score 5 or less. But I think it's possible, since for this race we're gonna have double points for everyone, since it's an endurance race. And so the first one will get 30 points, the second 28, third 26, and 2 by 2 to the 15 drivers to cross the line that will get 2 points. But I don't think that for this race we're gonna have that many drivers. Many didn't be able to get here to race for this last round, but we will see what is gonna happen. Everything can happen, also some disqualification for whatever reason. We'll see. The title, the battle for the title is on. Mr. Dibro is obviously the one, the favorite one, with 13 lead points. So let's switch to the constructor standings. Just for a... Ooh, I don't have the constructor. So yeah, let's... Okay, let me put the constructor just in a second while the lobby is on at the moment. We're just waiting to start. So here it is. Let me adjust it. So here it is, the constructor standings, with the Red Bull with 15 points clear of Alpine, Dirtshark and sorry, Dirtshark and Mr. Dubros will try to get the title, clinch the title, and maybe also to get a 1-2 in the drivers' standings. So a completely dominant season for Red Bull, even if there were close battles up the front every race, and most of the time I have to say Red Bulls as a team and also Red Bull as drivers has been on top of both standings. But Alpine has managed to get his way up and close every race the gap thanks to the good good races and good points scored by Barks Little Hood and his teammate Nicolas Boita. Also McLaren and Mercedes and Ferrari and also Aston Martins are fighting for P3 in the championship. We will see McLaren doesn't have a realistic opportunity to fight for the title since there are really drivers today um, that will run today with us. So let's put the game, and as you can see we're gonna have two Alpine drivers, two Red Bull, the the most important one. They are fighting for the title. Then we have a Mercedes and an Aston Martin with Staravia, an Alfa Romeo with Zabijaka, and waiting for Sandman, who something. This is not what I wanted. Let me put the logo back. Hopefully we are still live, but I think so because it's saying that we are live at the moment. Maybe there is a problem with the host of the session, the connection of the session. Okay. So, as you can tell, the battle is on among Red Bull and Alpine, and this race is going to be a 200% race, so 106 laps around Japan without qualifying. The grade is going to be set by reverse grid points per championship. So Zabijaka is going to be on pole last two races. But we're not gonna have a standing start. We're gonna have a start where every driver gives 3 seconds to um, his opponent behind for the first. It's like a safety car start, but a bigger gap between all the drivers. And then we're gonna have for the second race, the gaps will be as usual, the one where we left. So the where we ended the first race. Still the lobby is not working. Hopefully we're not gonna start that late since there are many laps to be done. So the session is still not working. Yeah, it doesn't exist, so we were waiting for a new lobby. And in the meantime, why don't we have a look also at the rest of the field, the rest of the standings, because there is a huge fight for P3 as well among Dershak. Jules that is not participating, so he won't get is the third place. Barks Turtle Hood, who is surely racing, and Simopeds, who had to study for his exam, his test, so won't be able to participate. And so we can say that Simopeds won't be the champion for this year. Trackster was in the lobby, so he's surely gonna participate into this fight. And then we have Warren and Marcy and Vumex very close together, or around 50 point, a little bit further back where Sarvillo, Eisenberg and Power Reels. Tarvillo and Simopets joined in the very last 4 races, I guess. So they're not participating from so much time. And even so, they managed to score so many points in some short matter of time. Eisenberg with 45, but still he won't participate in this race, the Ferrari. And then a little bit further back, Sandman with 33, who has the speed, but he didn't show us the consistency in this league. And since there are only 9 races, we had only 9 races in this championship. Uh, you need to work on your consistency and try to score as much point as possible. Uh, Also in very first races to get the momentum going. Still, there are some problem with the connection. I managed to get into the lobby, but we're only 4, and some people has been kicked out. And also, why don't we have a look at the other standings, the constructors, and yeah. So we all only talked about Alpine and Red Bull fighting for the first spot, but there are and also the battle for the third spot among McLaren, Mercedes, Ferrari, and Aston Martin. A little bit further behind, we have Williams, Alfa Romeo, As, AlphaTauri, and Lamborghini. Lamborghini is the theme of the drivers that are reserves. While there is a fight between Alfa Romeo and Haas, but since I didn't see an Haas drivers in the lobby, Alfa Romeo will clinch 8th place and maybe also overtake Williams, who is sitting in 7th. And I don't think it's capable to get a jump on the Aston Martin for the 6th place in the Constructor Championship. Still, we didn't have an invite yet. Sadly, it's already past 20 minutes. And that's the shocking news by Barks. It looks like we're gonna have to cancel the race. Service looks like they're messed up. So I think the race it's postponed to next week. So I think it's official. We're gonna wait since an official message, and then in case we're gonna uh, wait for next week. Let's wait till I get the confirm message. So Vumax would like to try to be the host, and in case it doesn't work either, then we're gonna cancel the race. So let's try one more time with Vumax. Maybe this time will work, and we're gonna have the race, the last round of Division 1 here in Japan. So in the meantime that we're waiting, why don't you go have a look at UKSS Dacham, our sponsor, title sponsor. That can provide you good essays for a very up level. Still nothing at the moment. So also this test on this new lobby doesn't seem it's working properly. Okay, maybe this time in Truckster lobby looks like it's working. Looks like lobby is on. So let me pop up it. Oh, actually it's not, because some drivers has been kicked out. So let's wait a little bit longer. And the lobby now it's not existing anymore. Okay, now it looks like it's working at the moment. Everyone is in and get that money on run lobby. So let's see if the lobby is gonna hold on. Hopefully the servers won't be an issue. Well, you can see a reel saying thanks. So looks like we have our session up and running. Hopefully it's not gonna crash one other time. It's like the fifth lobby that we're making. So let's wait just a little bit longer to get the grid set up. So still nothing is really changing at the moment. Hopefully the little driver in the AlphaTauri is doing his job to set the grid properly, hopefully.
Almost done, guys.
So let me mute all. And just for the brief moment I'm gonna put myself in a lonely party so that I can listen only to myself. Okay. Hello, how are we doing? We're still waiting, but now it looks like we are on. Hopefully the lobby won't be bagged, as we're trying to get the lobby up and running. Yep, hopefully everything is gonna work fine for you, because for us we had to try for 25 minutes to get the lobby up and running, since the servers weren't working that good, as always I should say. finally we are ready to this endurance race, 200% race. Here in Japan. Yeah, definitely. They need to do a better game if they want us to buy the next year. The EA has some potential and most importantly some good money, so they need to invest in the servers, surely. So here we are finally for round 9 of the endurance race. We're just waiting for the players and hopefully we're gonna have another verse. So this is already lap 1, but they should build a gap between the two of us of 3 seconds. Get the money on run, needs to get the gap a little bit bigger. 3 seconds has to be the one. Hopefully didn't forget that he has to get that gap. Real Surveyor is way far back, 11.4 seconds. So a little bit of a messy start because Jaga got the money on run, completely missed the fact to keep the 3-second gap, while in the back they rather at least try to do that because Barks and Durshark were around 2 seconds, and so Nicholas and Vumax, while the two Red Bulls got the money on run and were fairly inside the gap of 3 seconds, and the Reels is way off. But so this is not the start that maybe Barks thought about it, but still we're racing here in Japan. The consistency is key, and for these 10 drivers there are 30 points to be applied to the first drivers who cross the line in the second 100% race. So let's be pumped up for these 106 laps around Japan. This is the first one of many. And Get the Money Run is already using his energy. There are very lot close fight, but let's watch the fight between the two title fighters, Nicholas Boita and Mr. Debro. Nicholas doesn't need that many points. Sorry, Mr. Debro doesn't need that many points. Because let me put the standings just on to see what the gap is. I think it's around 13 points. No, sorry. So yeah, the gap is 13 points at the moment. So let's say Nicholas gets first at the very end of this race, then Miss Debro needs to stay at least in P8. P7 maybe, around P7 and P8 if we count fastest laps on. So at the moment Mr. Debro is easily the winner of the second season of the UK SS Dachau Beth Racing League, where Real Saravia set the fastest lap on the mediums, that got beaten by their Shark and the Red Bull with a 1:34.4. But let's put the leader gaps so that we have a better view, and also why don't we stay a little bit in the broadcast view so that we can understand better and we can also see better, since there are no fights at the moment. We can appreciate the car, and we appreciate Zabijacha's car losing the lead because of a spin at the airpin, the infamous airpin downhill, and now Zabijacha forced movements off. That's not very good by the Alfa Romeo drivers. Now the Haas of Mooman will surely react to that, and might be also under investigation because that was not really fair by the Alfa Romeo. Let's see if Mooman gonna fight back. Zabijacha might have damage to his front wing, maybe not, because I didn't see him touch the wall. Maybe he had contact with Mooman. There aren't many opportunities to overtake on this track. Surely this one is the most important one because it's the only DRS, the straight where we have DRS, while Sandman has left the session. He didn't manage to get on in the car, as now Lefty won't participate in this race. Yellow flag is a sector 1. Ooh, is a Red Bull's Dirt Shark, who is already off the race. Let's see from Bovac's perspective. Yeah, there it is. He completely shot his car in the wall, and so Dirt Shark is out of this race in P10. We will see also if he's gonna get the points, or even if he got DNF. But in case he will get 10 points, maybe. Let me check. $12 points, sorry. If he finished as, so if his finish counts, then he's gonna score 12 points for Red Bull team and for him. But this is huge for the championship, since Dirt Shark is now out of contention completely. He has only 12 points, and now Barks has the opportunity to fight for P3 in the standings, while Mooman gets ahead of Zabijacha in turn 1, as he tried the last lap before. Now Zabijacha tried to make a move here in the SS, but it's a long race, so he needs to wait for the best occasion that he might have. So I would say Barks need to finish 8 or up to get P3 in the Drivers' Championship, and I think he's gonna be able to do that, since he doesn't have very much competitor behind, only Trackster, but he's 8 points away, so he should be 5 positions ahead of him, and it's now behind 7 seconds. So Gather Money on Run is leading on the medium. Let's put the tires on so that we can have a look at that. Gather Money on Run, Real Sarvillo, Trackster and Nicolas Boita are the one who choose mediums, while the rest of the field has gone for softs, so they are doing the main strategy while the medium runner are doing the alternative strategies. Maybe they are looking for a one-stopper. Maybe it's gonna be soft mediums or soft mediums. I don't think the hards are the best comp around here. They might even work, but since there are many corners where you have to carry so much speed, then it's easy to lose so much time. They are a very good tire to be consistent on, but you also need to be fast, otherwise you'll be catched. Ooh, and Garamanio run almost losing the car where Zabijaha did some laps earlier, and now Mooman is within the range of 0.5 of a second and is getting closer and closer to the AlphaTauri. And he's gonna try to make a dummy, but I think it's a little bit too far off this time. I'm just gonna have a look at turn 1 with the DRS wide open. So he's surely preparing the overtake. Let's see how the chicane goes, and he goes well for Mooman, and surely he's gonna have his opportunity. Garamanio run goes defensive to the inside part of the track, but Mooman whoops around the outside to get the lead of the race. After a very good start for the Haas in P3, is now in P1, while Reels is catching quite quickly. He was around 10 seconds on lap 2 behind Zabijaha and is now 3.3. So he might seem soon, but Mooman spins out and lose the place on Garamanio runs Zabijaha, and also Reels, and soon also Bark's little hood, who is catching the Haas, so let's stay on board with the Alpine driver. Let's see Barks on board. The Alpine driver. When Mooman really braking way too much in that hairpin, Barks almost running into the back of the Haas. Let's see this battle. Just a slight lock up for the Alpine. Is Bark gonna try a move here on the hairpin, but Mooman is using all his battery, you can say that, because he's the one ahead and he's pulling away. That's not how it works normally. So let's see if Bark's gonna have his opportunity going to turn 1. Really nice section of the track. Ooh, and Mooman selecting the car way too early on the brake. Barks goes down the inside of the ass and get to P4 and is now following Reels, that is 1.1 seconds behind Zabijaha. So the trio is fighting for the win at the moment. Let's see Zabijaha, who is fighting for the lead against Garamanio run. He tried a move in a corner that it's impossible to do. Here he is, Real Staraveo. So almost lost the connection. Don't know what happened. The live just freezed, but here I am back with Real Staraveo still on board, still trying to make a move on Zabijaha, but he has the DRS on the lead drivers, and so he needs to rely on an error of the Alfa Romeo driver, since he does also have the mediums on, and Zabijaha gets the best traction out of the tree, because now Garamanio run goes defensive in the inside. Zabijaha try to go around the outside to make an incredible move. Let's see from his perspective. Oh, and they touch, but Zabijaha completely overtake and gets the lead. Incredible overtake from the Alfa Romeo drivers. Also very clean, leaving enough room to the AlphaTauri that has nothing to do, and Zabijaka gets the lead back after his spin. Incredible maneuver here. And still, now Galamani run has to look for Real Saravia, needs to defend from the Aston Martin. Otherwise, I think he will be dropped by the two of them, running a little bit more pace than him. But now Rail seems the one waiting to pick up the scraps of this battle, while Barks is getting closer and closer. On lap 7 the gap was around 6 seconds, now it's 4.6, so he's gained 7/10 of a second. He's gaining 7/10 of a second per lap, maybe even more, since we haven't crossed the line yet. You can tell. Ooh, maybe they have contact. Maybe get the money run at contact with Zabijaka. Let's see from his traction now. He's getting relatively sketchy. The AlphaTauri goes defensive. Rails get all the slipstream. DRS wide open. Energy recovery system activated. He goes defensive, but Rails doesn't manage to get the switchback line on turn 1-2, and so the AlphaTauri keeps his second place, but is now almost out of the DRS window. Sorry. Yeah, he's out now of the DRS window, so he's vulnerable to the attack of the Aston Martin of Real Saravia, while Barsk is getting really close. It's now 2.9 seconds. So an intense fight for the win, while Nicolas is now close to Mooman here on that part of the track, and he's trying to make a move down the inside. Maybe he's gonna try here at the hairpin, so let's stay on board with the Alpine. Mooman goes a little bit defensive, and Nicolas tried to make a move over here, a little touch, pushing the ass, and gets the move done. Now Trackster. Now Mooman is gonna try to fight back with the ERS system. Let's see from Nicolas' point of view. He's in the inside of Spoon. Is he gonna dive down inside? He is, and Mooman is forced off and loses the place on Trackster. Let's see Mr. Dimru also putting the nose in on the ass, and now Mooman is in P8. So he lost 3 places in a matter of a half a lap. But let's back on board with World Surveyor now. Galamani Run has gone back into the DRS range, so he might have another opportunity to stay in P2 for this lap, and in fact he is, because the DRS is so powerful. You can tell the rails has much more pace by the way he's doing these corners, these sweepings line in sector 1. Maybe he's gonna have an opportunity here, but there isn't really a braking zone in the next corner, so it's very hard to put your car in front of the other one. But here at the airpin there is an opportunity, and Rails needs to be brave and bold, and have a look down inside. They both lock up, they both go wide, and now it's a drag race to the Spoon, but Rails flinch first and has to give the position on the AlphaTauri. The two are divided by a tenth of a second. Rails now get a very good exit. Get a money around, doesn't have the slipstream, or at least not as effective as Rails one, and he's trying to pulling alongside, but he doesn't have the speed to do so. Let's see if he's gonna dive down the inside. He's not, he's just carrying the Alfa Romeo off line. Now Rails get a very good traction out of the chicane. Get the money around, doesn't have the DRS. He's playing his car in the middle of the track, and Rails dives down the inside with his Aston Martin to get P2 in this race. We're on lap 12 of 106. But let's watch also Trackster, who is just 0.2 of a second behind Nicolas Boita, who has managed to get to P5. With Mr. Debro completing the 3 and P7, just monitoring that Nicolas won't go too far up the order. So if Nicolas is first, then and gets the fastest lap. Mr. Debro needs to be um, at least 7th. But it doesn't look like it because the gap between Nicolas and Zabishaka is over than 9.5 seconds, so they're surely gaining on the leaders. But so is doing Mr. Debro, who is sitting 1.5 seconds behind him, and is already in position here in P7. So let's see also Rails, who is on a charge at the moment. The Aston Martin driver is 4 tenths behind Zabishaka. Gonna money run, 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Let's see ERS wide open. ERS on Zabishaka goes really defensive, using a lot of his energy. Let's see if he's gonna try to make a move around the outside. He's not. He's cautious, and Zabishaka is not. He's lose the car, but he managed to get his back the control. Get the money on run. He's now going to swoops around the outside here in turn 3. Zabishaka goes a little bit on the gravel. The temperature on his tires are way too up. They're too warm. I need to cool them down in this side of the track. What? Because Barks is coming. He's almost in the DRS range, 1 second behind him. Dragster 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. 2. This track is deadly for corner cutting. And also for spins. If you don't get the right curb in the right way, then you're gonna lose your car. So Barks is now in P4, looking to get P3 on Zabishaka. I think it's a little bit too far off in this occasion. 7 tenths of a second are way too much. Now 80, but he's using his energy. He needs to store it a little bit. Nicolas Boita fastest overall, 1:24.3, and that's a big message to Mr. Debro. But Mr. Debro sent him another very important message, overtaking the Mercedes of Dragster, who is now setting him to P7. Zabishaka overtook Gadamaniora. What happened? He overtook him during the essay, so Gadamaniora surely did a mistake that we didn't see. Well, Rails is pulling away so fastly. 4.1 second. Now get the money on run as the DRS is in the DRS range of Zabishaka, but also Bark is within 1 second of the car ahead. Get the money run is a little bit off, but Barks doesn't have the energy to fight him, and so he's gonna sit also for this lap into P4. While Nicolas is coming, let's see the laps that Nicolas is doing, comparing them with Barks' one. Barks is doing high 35s, Nicolas is doing mid 35s, at this stage of the race at least. Before he was doing high 34s. Also now Mr. Debro is getting closer to Nicolas, and maybe we could have a change of the guard here in for P5, while Barks is really close to get a manual run, but he's not diving down the inside here. Four tenths of a second. Get a manual run, goes a little bit too wide. Now Barks gonna have good traction, but it's a little bit too far off still. He needs to rely on a mistake from the AlphaTauri drivers. Very intense fight here for P2 at the moment, but still everyone is a little bit too off the pace. No, sorry, not off the pace. The gaps are way too open to try and make a move. Mr. Debra is close also to Nicholas, but he doesn't manage to get a move on in. We also need to think that Nicholas is on mediums, while Mr. Debra is on softs, and they're lapping the same pace. Maybe Mr. Debra does have a two tenths in the hand, but can't show it because he's been behind the car from the start of the race. So we will see if Mr. Debra can successfully overtake his opponent. Then he might have the possibility to show us his pace. So get a manual run. It's now closer to Zabijaha. Let's see if he does have a good exit here. He doesn't. He lost a little bit of the car, while Barks is already going into the pit after 15 laps on these softs. He decides to get rid of them to put a set of mediums. Maybe he does want to. He thought that he had too much traffic. They were slowing down way too much, and decides to go for an undercut. We will see what Zabijaha is gonna do. While Nicholas Boita is getting really close now. Only 3 seconds. Dividing him from getting P3 at the moment. And get a money around does also have a 3-second time penalty that needs to count by the end of the race. Nicholas is gaining already other 3 tenths going into the middle sector, and now Gnamaniran is surely using some energy and misses completely the braking zone, while Zabijaha dives into the pit as well. Nicholas Boita, 3-second time penalty. This is important, but there are still plenty of laps to come. Nicholas Boita 1:34.2. That's the fastest lap of the race. So let's stay on board with Barks. Let's see if Zabijaha gonna be ahead of the Alfa Romeo drivers, or is he gonna rejoin behind. And it looks like Zabijaha is well off ahead of the Alpine drivers over 2.5 seconds, 2.7. Maybe the undercut didn't work for Barks. Actually lost a bit of time to Zabi. But he show us that the pace is there, so I think I can catch him. So let's stay on board with Nicholas for a little bit because he's getting closer to get a money on run. The Brazilian driver who finished seconds in the first season and is in a net P2 at the moment in the driver championship. Still, the Alpine, if they score a good amount of points, they could become constructor championship. So Barks needs to get his speed on, because that will guarantee a huge amount of points for the French team, while Barks sets the fastest lap of the race so far and get 3 tenths closer to Zabujaca. Well, Get a Money Run goes a little bit on the gravel and now goes a little bit too deep, losing some traction. Now Nicholas is very close, and I know him, but he doesn't go down inside as I was thinking, and he decides to wait for a better occasion, as turn 1 could be. But the other Money Run is driving on a good rhythm. Maybe not the cleanest of driving, touching the grass here and there, but it does surely show us that he has some rhythm, while the rails is hoping that the AlphaTauri will hold this duo behind for a very long time, and maybe this is gonna be the lap where Nicholas get P2. Let's see, he's try to make a move around the outside, he outbrake himself and he completely overtake, going a little bit off the track, but the Alpine is now sitting into P2, and now Mr. Debro needs to overtake the AlphaTauri very soon, while Barks has another fastest lap of the race, 1:33.5, and is catching Zabujac at the speed of light, and is going well faster than the Ganamania run. Just reference, let's have a look at the laps he's setting. He's setting 1:35's high 1:35, so Barks is gaining 2 seconds per lap with this different strategy. And I think we will see the mediums runners pitting in a matter of 5-10 laps. Maybe they want to try to push them for other 15 laps and then pit for a set of softs. So Mr. Debro is within 5 tenths, and so does Get a Money on Run. Ooh, and the AlphaTauri almost dive bombing the the Alpine. Now gets a really good traction, and Nicholas S to the fan. Let's see. Mr. Debro needs to pit in the very next lap or so. He does surely want to go for a one-stop soft medium. Risky moment there on that curb. Also, Mooman is attacking Trackster in the Mercedes. He's finding some good pace, and so does Vumax, who is really close on the Haas, and he's trying to make a room around the outside, maybe looking for a switchback of Dreams, but the Williams doesn't have the traction to get that position. Now Barks has stabilized his times, but it's not getting any closer to Zabujaca. 1.5 seconds still is the gap. We need to think also to the long game. Now at the moment Rails is very well the favorite drivers. He's 11 seconds up in front of Nicolas Boita, and Mr. Dibris finally pit, and he's gonna pit for a set of mediums surely. And so does Mooman, and Vumax in fact try to make an overcut. So why don't we stay on board with Vumax and let's see his overcut lap, but it's not already going as he would like. Here is Vumax. Vumax is a proud dad of 3 boys, congratulations to him. If I'm not mistaken, that's the Bulgari flag. And these drivers, I have to say, they're really stepping up another level. Ooh, I saw a spin. Was that Mr. Dibber? He is Mr. Dibber, because on this side of the track we are like on 7th gear, 8th gear, and he's now surely lost so much time. Let's see if Mooman is catching him. And he is, but let's stay back with Vumax. Let's turn back with him. So Mooman is catching Mr. Dibro, and that's not a very good sign for the Red Bull driver. Get him on your run at a 3-second time penalty. We're already at 6 seconds. So Mr. Dibro might have broken his front wing, and if he needs to pit again it will be incredible. So Vumax is adding him to the pit. Let's see where is he gonna come out after 22 laps on the softs. Setting the mediums. Still ahead. It's gonna be Thythe. And Vumax comes out of the pit. Mr. Dibro passes. Let's see if he's gonna head of Mooman, and he is completely overcut. So very well done to Vumax, who managed to get ahead of Mooman, staying a lap longer out on these softs compound tires. Very good call by the Williams. And he's now gonna try to catch Mr. Dibro, who is 1.3 seconds in front. Let's see if he does have a front wing damage. It doesn't look like, so he should be able to pull away. But Vumax is still in that gap. By the end of this lap I want to see his lap time, so that I can understand whether he has damage, or at least if something is going wrong. Now he's gained a tenth and a half on the Williams. So let's see what laps is Mr. Dibra setting, while Barks is almost in the DRS range. Mr. Dibra is doing I-33, so he doesn't have damage surely. It's just Vumax and Mooman, they are really setting good lap times as well, so they are stepping up too. Let me see the fastest lap overall. It's all by Barks with a 1:33.5. So the Red Bull is driving really fast, and so is doing Vumax. Still 1.5 seconds on a lapping around the same time, around 1:33.9. Sometimes there are these freeze of the stream that really scares me. Likely it's just a matter of 2 seconds, 3, nothing more. while Barks is within 4 tenths of Zabijaka, so why don't we switch to him? He has pitted 5 laps earlier than Mr. Debro, but he's 15 seconds clear of the Red Bull and is looking to get this gap bigger and bigger. Zabijaka goes defensive, Barks doesn't have much energy to fight, but that was a little bit too far away even if he had 100% energy battery system. Sorry, energy recovery system. It's not Mr. Debro. Let me just switch what was his last lap time. So it was his best lap time with a 1:33.6. So he's almost getting to the fastest lap overall held by Barks' Little Hood. Like trying to stopping up, say that Hood word with the W-O sound. Really nice spoon here from the Alpine driver. So still in the DRS range, but Zabijaka is looking to have so much pace overall. As in fact is catching Trackster, who is sitting in P5, while Mr. Debro sets the fastest lap of the race with a 1:33.2, and he is now getting these mediums up to temperature because he has gained half a second to Barks. And while the fuel tank is getting lower every lap, we are almost already at half through the race. The point is lap 27, where we will overtake half of the first quarter of the endurance. So let's wait 2 rails to cross the line to officially say that we're overtaking the first quarter of the endurance race, and here we are with a 1:34.0 set by Rails on his very old set of mediums. He is yet to pit, and in case he pits he will get to P3. I think he's trying to get a gap over 22 seconds to get the money on run, and I think he can easily do that in a matter of maybe 10 laps to get a shiny set of softs, while Barks is really coming every lap closer to Zabijaka and almost running into the back of the Alfa Romeo. The 3 are fighting for P4, then there is a little bit of a gap, 8.4 seconds. Hopefully these gaps will stay the same when we switch to the second race. I hope everyone is going to respect them and not just start as they want, but I think otherwise they will get penalized. Well, Mr. Debro has gained another second and a half to Barks. They both have already pitted. Mr. Debro has to do other 25 laps, and in these 25 laps needs to catch this 13 seconds gap, and it looks like he will be able to do that at this pace. And Barks needs to get rid of Zabijaka as soon as he can. And also we need to think that Trackster is yet to pit. Now Barks has a really nice chicane. using all the energy that he has, DRS wide open, and so does Zabjaka. So Barks is a little bit unlucky that the Alfa Romeo get the DRS this time, and almost Zabjaka overtaking the Mercedes. Trying to have a look down inside, but it's not working in this side of the track. It's a little bit too dangerous. Yellow flag the sector 1. Ooh, was that Barks? He is. Barks has lost the car. Let's see if he's broken the front wing. It's not. Sad bad mistake for the Alpine driver, so he's now 6.4 seconds behind Zabijaka, so he's lost 6 seconds to Zabijaka, and the same to Mr. Dibros behind, while Rails is unstoppable. He has gained even more while doing a 33.4, almost the fastest lap of the race on these mediums. Let's put up the standings just to see where Rails will get with 30 and plus points. We'll get around 76, so I won't say you'll get to P3 because there are some drivers running, but maybe P5 in the Drivers' Championship with only half of the championship run. While Zabijaka has overtaken Trackster going into turn 1. And now the Mercedes really needs to find some pace for the end of these medium tires, then to switch to the softs that can do around 20 laps. A little bit of a lock up there. So Traxxer still 1.3 seconds behind, and he's losing the touch there from the Alfa Romeo. I think he thought about going into the pit, but he decides to stay with this compound for another few laps and then get rid of them. It would be nice to have the 5 drivers that are running the fastest race pace, as in the real Formula 1. They do a medium time for the last 5 laps and then shows the race pace. It would be nice to have it. I think Mr. Dibro, Rails, Nicholas, and maybe Zabijaka are the ones driving the fastest at the moment. So let's stay on board a little bit while our drivers in first, Real Star Vio. His description says he's a great wingman, but we have to admit the Spaniard is doing a great job ahead of everyone and is gaining to Nicolas Boita. Let's see how much he's gaining. Nicolas is doing mid 34s, and he's doing mid 33s, so he's gaining 8 to 9 tenths every lap, while Mr. Debra is setting the fastest lap. Rails is not that far off, only 3 tenths from Mr. Debra's best lap, but Mr. Debra has already pitted, while Rails is yet to pit and is on a whole set of mediums. So he's putting some very good laps together, some very good consistency. Very proud of him, since I was the one let make him join the league, being a friend of mine, racing against him wheel to wheel on last game when we were in a league together, an international league as this one. Well, get a money around Trackster both decides to dives into the pit to put as a new set of softs, so they will try to close the gap to the drivers that have who have put a set of mediums for the undercut. So the alternative strategy is on, and it's gonna be on soon also for Rails, Nicholas. Yeah, for Rails and Nicholas. And Zabijaka might get his second place back, but Rails will rejoin in P2 unless Nicholas will try to make an undercut. But here he goes, Rails into the pit, so I think Nicholas is gonna stay a little bit longer, or maybe he's gonna respawn already in this lap. Let's see his strategy. And he decides to be coherent and goes into the pit, as did Rails Ravillo, that will rejoin in first place, while Zabijaka gets a 3-second time penalty. Is in the straight while Nicholas is still in the pit, so Zabijaka will get his second place back, and Nicholas will have to overtake him once again. Also Barks might be in front of Nicholas, and he is in fact. So now Barks is a net P3, but with Nicholas on a brand new shiny set of softs, while Mr. Debra didn't manage to undercut the Alpine. And now Barks has a very tough work to do to keep Mr. Debra behind, and he has to do it for the very next 20 laps. The gaps between the two of them is around 5 seconds, and Barks needs to stay on this pace if he wants to help his teammate to win the championship. But Mr. Debra is slightly gaining every lap. We will see, there are still 20 laps to go for the end of this very first race of 2. The gaps aren't as much big as I thought they will be, but still they're on very close fight on track. Also, given not that many drivers on racing, well, Get a Money on runs has a 1:32.4 as the fastest lap of the race, but I think Rails might have other thoughts about it, because he's just set a very good first sector. So we're gonna see at the spoon what his lap time is gonna be. What the partial is gonna be. Zabijaka is 11 seconds behind and he's in a net P2 because he has already pitted. So I missed the mini sector, but let's say with his lap time he's gonna be crossing the line to start lap 35 of the race. It's gonna be a 1:32.7, so not fastest overall. Gonna money run with lapped set of the fastest lap, a faster lap than the Aston Martin, but maybe he didn't use that much of the energy recovery system. And now Nicolas Boita set the fastest lap while Barks Littlefoot completely let his teammate go. Who is fighting for the Drivers' Championship as now has the extra point. The gap between Barks and Mr. Dibra is around 4 seconds. Now Barks needs to try and stay at the same pace as Nicolas, but it's just gonna be absolutely impossible since the Brazilian has a brand new set of softs. Or at least try to get dragged along by his teammates and his race pace, because otherwise Mr. Dibra will get bigger and bigger in his mirrors. Still, Nicolas has to catch also Restaravia that is 17 seconds off, but there are 70 laps to go, so there is all the time he needs. Sorry. Well, Nicolas set another fastest lap of the race, 1:31.8. So he's really pushing hard. And Barks is already 1.9 seconds, but he's keeping that gap with Mr. Dibra around 3.8, 3.9 seconds. So he's doing a good job. Yellow flag in sector 1. Ooh, I think it's got a money around, and in fact he is. The AlphaTauri has spun and lost the car, and so he's out of the race. One more retirement and then Mr. Dibra will be crowned as driver champions. Let's do a little bit some calculus. If both Nicolas and Barks manage to get past Zabijaka, they will get P2 and 3, so they will get 28 and 26 points. I'm wondering about the Constructor Championship, so they will get 54 points. And if Mr. Dibra comes to get 4th, he will get 24 plus the 12, so 36. They will get Alpine will get 11 points on the Red Bull. That would be enough to secure P1 in the Constructor Championship. Just Barks need to stay in front of Mr. Dibra, and Nicolas really need to try and clinch the win. But if Barks manage to stay in front of Mr. Dibra, then there are very good chances of Alpine getting the Constructor Championship. So the Drivers' Championship might be lost for Nicolas, but still there is the Constructor. Yeah, we're in DNF for get a money on run. Also, we have to. I didn't read the rules for this race. Sorry, Barks. But I don't know if the DNFs will count as points while Nicholas is there. So let me see. It's a little bit too far off at the moment. Full tenths of a second dividing the two of them. So Nicholas is really close. And I kind of read the rules, but it doesn't say anything about DNFs in this endurance race, so we might think that it's gonna be the same as always. While Zabijaka goes a little bit defensive, Nicholas tries to make a move down the inside, but still Zabijaka holds quite nicely to that second place, even if he has 6 seconds worth of penalty. Maybe the Alfa Romeo has a very draggy setup that makes him push just enough to stay in front. Even if he has a brand new set of softs, while rails is completely adding off here because he's 20 seconds clear of the Alfa Romeo in P2. He has completed almost 40 laps of this 106 laps race. So let's wait. Well, Nicholas maybe he's gonna have a chance here at the chicane. And he is just for the overtake. The with a freeze in the streaming, but Nicholas got through the Alfa Romeo of Zabijaka, who is now sitting into P3. Nicholas is now in P2, and we will see if Nicholas is gonna have the pace to reduce at least this gap as much as he can do. But Nicholas goes completely wide, touching the grass, and Zabijaka is back through, and Nicholas also gonna lose the place on Barks, and maybe on Mr. Debra because he's getting bigger and bigger in the mirrors, and now he's carrying so much more pace. But Nicholas is back in position in P4 and now needs to pull away once more to Mr. Debra and get once more close to Barks. Oh, and there is the fellow commentator of Division 2, hi Lewis. Yeah, the streaming's completely froze just in time for the most important overtake so far. There have been some good fight for P1 at the very start of the laps within the first 10 laps, but now there is only a, an enormous gap between Rils and Zabijaja. Yeah, his P3 is doing a good job. Nicholas has lost some ground, but I think he has the pace to get his teammate back because they are fighting for the Constructor Championship more than the drivers. Still, since Mr. Dibber, sorry, I think will surely clinch the title. Barks needs to score Mr. Dibro, and Nicholas needs to finish at least second to let Alpine win the constructor title. Eight-tenths of a second separating the two teammates. Now, as Barks did before, I think it's gonna let Nicholas by because he's on softs and he has more pace on this compound and needs to work his way back to get to Zabijaka. That has I think 6 seconds of penalty. Let me see. Now only 3, so Barks need to stay within this gap if he wants to get P3, because now he's gonna steps aside, and he does, to let Nicholas through and get P3. With only 11 laps to go for this first 100% race, let me see. Who has the fastest lap? Is Nicholas Boita with a 1:31.8. The second overall is Real Staravilla, that might try to go in the pit for a brand new set of softs, but considering there is another 100% race to do, he may well like to keep this big gap that he has managed to do in these 42 laps of 106. So why, Lewis, are you not streaming? Is there some problem? No. Ah, in 20 minutes. Okay, I didn't know. I always thought it was 1 hour. Our race was only an hour earlier. And if it's a 200% race, then you're gonna head in a very late night. And we can officially say that the third season of the UKSS Dachau Bath Racing League is gonna start on March, and hopefully we will get that stream with both commentators in the same race. I was really looking forward to Monaco, but then Barks told me that we weren't able to get us both in the same division, the same lobby. So Mr. Dibro catching Barks is within the 1 second window in the DRS range, and he needs to get Barks to clinch the constructor title. That would be massive for Red Bull. That will bring the theme the time that Vettel's was dominant from 2009 to 2013. Sorry, 2010. 2009, Brown won the drivers' championship. Oh, and Nicholas has overtaken Sabishaka as well, going to turn 1. So now the Alfa Romeo is back into P3, and Mr. Debro is really close to Barks. That has is a red light flashing, so the battery is below 10%. Now it's just about over. So why don't we stay a little bit more on board with Mr. Debro? He's gonna try to make a move. Going, I don't think here, going into the chicane, but surely going into turn 1 in the next straight, where it's gonna have also the DRS. Not the best chicane for both of them, while Nicholas sets a 1:31.5. Very good lap. Bark stays in the middle of the track. Mr. Debro goes around the outside to completely overtake on the Alpine, while Barks has spun off. Maybe there's been contact between the two of them. Vomax is so much off, but I think there's surely been contact between the two of them. We were on board with the Red Bull of Mr. Debro. We didn't see Barks on board, but I think the two comes together, and Barks is now 9 seconds off the Red Bull. Still, there is a lot of time to make up from this spin. Oh, sorry, let me exactly. There are still 7 plus other 53 laps, so still 60 laps to go. Let's go on board a little bit with Sabishaka. Who is coming back, and Nicholas, who is in a soft tire, but they don't seem to be working as nice as before. still 6 laps to go to the end of this first 100% race. We have seen many overtakes, so let's have a look at sorry, the change of position, the position changes from the start. Real Staravia from P5 up to first within the very first 10 laps. Nicolas Boita up to second after a very good strategy, a very good stint on the medium, and is now in P2 after starting P8. Zabijaka, starting from pole, is sitting in P3 and is doing a very good job holding this podium. Mr. Dibro in starting 1 place behind Nicolas Boita, and he's starting 1 place behind Nicolas Boita, and he's 2 place behind the Brazilian, and is contender for the championship. And then we have Barks starting P4, and he's actually in P5, and he has lost the place to Baldo title contender. Then we have Vumax, who has started P10, so dead last, and is now in P6, and is doing a very good job at the moment. And Mooman starting in the best. Ooh, almost losing the car. That's Abhishaka. Mooman starting P3 and is now 7th, and Tragster in the Mercedes is the last driver still running, who is in P8. And finally get the money on run at Dirshark, who has both DNF from this race. So 4 laps to go. Let's stay with the drivers who has led the most to today. Real Staravia. The Brazilian is having a really good time here in P1. 27 seconds clear of the Alpine, while Barks gets a 3-second time penalty that really it's really tough to... Oh, yellow flag in sector 3. Is a Mercedes Dragster? Yeah, it is. And he's doing some maneuver, and I think he's going into the pit. Maybe he didn't want to, but he's gonna put a brand new set of softs and trying to go for the fastest lap, while Rails is going for the fastest lap as well, because he has just set at a 1:31.8, not that far off. 1:31.5 from Nicolas Boita, so the Aston Martin is really looking for this, the additional point that will be awarded by the end of the second race, comparing the fastest lap of each race. And Mr. Dibro is now very close to Zabijaka, that goes defensive. Mr. Dibro stays behind Alfa Romeo. Ooh, Mr. Dibro pushing a little bit too hard, touching the gravel, losing almost a second to Zabijaka and missing the opportunity to fight him at the very next straight or at the spoon, because the gap is a little bit too high. Real Staravio, here he comes, 1:31.5. As I was saying, was trying to get the fastest lap, and now he has done it. He's just overtaken the fastest lap that Nicholas set it before by some few milliseconds. Now the Red Bull is gonna have a look at the Alfa Romeo. That would be huge to start the next race in P3. Zabijaka sticks to the racing line, to the outside line. Mr. Dibro try to go down the inside. Let's see if Zabijaka is gonna try to hold around the outside, but he doesn't. He doesn't have the traction to do it. And so now the Red Bull's in P3, Zabijaka is in P4 after starting from pole. But he's trying to holding into it. Trying to force Mr. Dibro into a mistake. Under throes of the stream, and Trackster set the fastest lap overall with a 1:30.5, going clear of Real Staravio by a second with a fresh set of softs. Almost a qualifying lap, so now Reals has to wait for the next race, very next race, to try and set the fastest lap. He's 30 seconds clear of Nicholas, and if he continue to do the same in the second race, he's gonna get the fastest lap, beating at the very end of the race with 2 or 3 laps to go, and then trying to go for the fastest lap overall. He's trying now, but I think it's impossible to do it. In fact, the second sector is 3/10 off the pace. And now the Spaniard start his final lap of the first race. Yellow flags in Sector 1 is the Mercedes of Trackster, who has DNF'd. Whoa, that's sad for the Mercedes. Was also Mr. Dibro has overtaken Nicolas Boita. What happened there? The Alpine has lost the place on his championship rival. Now the Nicolas Boita is in P3. Mr. Dibro, amazing performance there. He's now in P2. That's huge. That's really important. On the very final lap of the race, the talented Brazilian, also Zabijaka has lost the car. What is happening on this final lap? Zabijaka has lost the car. Now Barks is in a very good shape. Let's see if Zabijaka is damaged. We'll surely see by that corner, and he's braking a little bit too much from the standard. So now Barks need to try and get the best out of this final half of a lap, while the Reals win the first race and complete the first half of the race. Mr. Dibro is gonna start P2 after an incredible overtake at the very last lap. So now Mr. Dibro, the Red Bull, is starting second. Nicolas Boita in P3. Maybe he's gonna look for the other strategies of the mediums to get a better start and try to win the position of Mr. Dibro the very first lap. So that's the end of our first 100% race. Zabijaka also crossing the line P4 at the end. Barth gained an incredible amount of time to the Alfa Romeo. And we're waiting for Vumex and Muman. They will cross the line together now. They completed the first race. And Vumex shunt his car just to say a little bit of a low to the fans watching. Mr. Dibro, the driver of the day, surely starting from P9 up to P2. Zabi asked for a 10-minute break. Because his neck is dead. We'll see what is gonna be. So the race is gonna start in 2 minutes, says Barks. So that's the end of our first 100% race. Real Staravia wins in 83 minutes and 29 seconds. So got some messages from the Division 2. They're trying to setting up the lobby, and as we did before, as we tried before, there are some very big issues with the server. But that's the end of our first race. Real Staravia first, Mr. Dibra second, Nicolas Boita P3, Sabishaka fourth, Barks fifth, Moment 6, Vumex in P7, Trackster, who is out of the race, so won't take part in this race. While Barks sent the images of the Delta that the drivers need to respect, starting second 100% race. So I'm gonna take a little bit of a break, and I'm gonna see you when the second 100% race starts. So welcome back. Here we are for the second 100% race. There are only 6 drivers remaining. I thought there were 7. Is someone missing? Is real? No, Reels is there. Then second we were with Mr. Dibro, third Niklas, fourth Zabijaka, fifth Barks. I think we are missing someone. Maybe not. So in the meantime, the Division 2 race is starting. So if you want to check out also that race, it's gonna be live on YouTube. Still, Nicolas Mr. Dibro movement loading. Maybe the lobby is back. I hope not, since we have waited for so long today to set up the lobby. We had the retirement of Trackster, Dirt Shark. Oh yeah, Vomax is missing in the Williams. The Williams of Vomax is missing. So that's why we are 6 drivers only. So back lobby. So we need to restart the session, and for the time being that I get invited, uh, I'll put the logo back to set up my dinner. So here we are back for the second race. This time the lobby hopefully is not back, and hopefully it's gonna provide us a good show for uh, the end of the second season of the UKSS.com Battle Racing League. Go check out the UKSS.com, our title sponsor and only sponsor, I'll say. So 25 seconds to go. Vumax and Barks still to load, but this time that there isn't the time running, it means that the lobby is not back, or at least what I have experienced. But Vumax please load so that we can go racing again for the 53 laps of Japan, where Real Star Vio will start with a clean with a clean gap over Mr. Debro over 30 seconds dividing the two of them. So here they are the drivers. Hopefully uh, they remind to put their setups on. They remember to put their setups on, and they're deciding whether to switch the strategy. So to do a soft medium or medium soft. Let's see what you're gonna decide. So Area is real starting from pole position alongside Mr. Debro. So the drivers must respect the gaps that we had before. Mr. Debro is gonna start now, but has to keep uh, um, a gap of more or less, I think, 30 seconds to Real Saravio, who is already pushing. Mr. Debro is waiting, and so is doing Nicholas. That it's to be, and the tires might. So let's put the leader. Mr. Debro has started maybe a little bit too early. Maybe he's waiting a little bit more. In fact, he's losing a little bit of time. Nicholas Boyd, I think, has started now. So let's put tires on. Only Nicholas is on medium, so he's the only one trying the alternative strategy. Now Zabijaka, Barks are starting. So let's go on board with Barks and let's see if he's pushing full throttle. And I think he is. So they're okay. So they have started. So here we goes. The first lap of the last 53 of the second season here in Japan. There is quite a big gap. Nicholas, I don't think, will be able to catch Mr. Debro in the soon time because he's the only driver on medium. And Rails has already completed his lap well. Ooh, and there is a crash. And Vumax has I think has lost some of his front wing, or at least he got some minor damage because he's running into the back of the Asaf movement. With down inside, taking a little bit of a wide line, while Vumax trying to make for a switchback line. And now Movement pulls away. I'm gonna come back here in a second. So already Vumax into the pit to put a brand new set of Rs, and where he spins completely out and is now backwards, and it's already been lapped after very 2 laps. Reels is and is soft, trying to work his pace back as he had before. Mr. Dibros has the fastest lap of the race, very good indicator, 1:35.2. They finished doing 1:30s. So let's do some calculus. Let's see if Mr. Dibro finished second, Nicholas finished third, and let's say Barks finished fourth. Alpine will get 50 points and Mr. Dibro will get 28 plus the 12 of Dershag. They will get 40, and Red Bull will win the championship by 5 points. Still, we need to consider whether the points will be awarded to Dershag or not. That's the big question, since he DNF'd after like 1 lap, maybe. And this is gonna come to Barks. Yeah, exactly, William. Dershag crashed, but still in Formula 1, if you DNF, but you are in the top 10, you receive your points. But this is a very different format, so we need to see from Barks' choice. Maybe I skipped that in the regulations. I hope you are having a good time, William, here with us. Only 49 laps to go for season 2, then we're gonna... You need to be classified to receive points. That is true, that's what I thought at first, but yeah, thank you. Maybe something is different, since still it's an endurance race. Maybe the points will go only to the drivers that actually finished the race, and so in case Alpine will become Constructor Championship, snatching the title to Red Bull by 5 points. Sorry, 7. So William, from where are you watching the race? I think Brazil, but maybe you and Nicholas are teammates, I don't know. Brazil, in fact. I've never been to Brazil, but we need to looking for while Vumax pits another time. And Zabijaga gets a 3-second time penalty, and that's important for Barks, who is in the Alpine at the moment, or at least for this season. We'll see if it's gonna stick to Alpine also from next season, as Vumax DNF decides he had enough after 2 spins. Ah, you're on his side. Cool. Cool, William. So you are your engineer, and judging by the Boita, I think you are your brother. Cool, always happy to hear that family is interested in leg racing. I think you have this passion too, while Reels decides to have a look on the other part of the track that he didn't experience in the first race. It's gonna be a long race for Reels since he drove uh, almost all the first race alone, and he needs to try to keep focus for these other 47 laps and gets 30 points that will mean much for him. That will give him a very good boost for season 3. So why don't we have a look at the lap times that these drivers are doing, since they're only 7. We could check it very quickly. So Ariels has just put his fastest lap overall with a 1:34.6, but he's not matching his fastest lap. He's doing, let's say, 35s. So he's Mr. Debro, and Nicholas is doing mid 35, so he's losing a little bit of ground. Malsis is on the mediums. It's fair. Then we have Tsapi Xhaka, who is doing mid 34s, so he's lapping quite fast. Then we have Barks Little Hood, who is lapping mid 35s as well. Mooman, who is doing high 35s, and then Vumux, who has retired, so he's not lapping. So, very consistent pace for all the drivers. So the Romanian drivers, Mr. Debro, is about to become drivers champion. Since Vumax has retired, he's gonna finish 6th or higher, and that will mean, mathematically speaking, that he's gonna be drivers champion, unless he DNF and unless there is some rule that DNF car won't get points. But still, is everything what if? At the moment, Mr. Debro is even in front of Nicholas, who has gone for a different strategy, maybe trying to get Red Bull at the end of the race, showing us some really good fights between the two of them. This is surely the longest live we have ever had on this channel. Already 2.5 hours, and still some very good laps to go, but still feels pumped up to make you feel ready for these other and last 45 laps of season 2. To recap the season, we have to say that Nicholas really did a very good job in the very first and last part of the year. Very good first 3 races for the Brazilian driver, and so for the last 3, but in the mid season it didn't show really good pace, maybe lacking some practicing, but he managed to do damage limitation. Now they are fighting him and Barth Little Hood to clinch the title, the constructor title, meeting the Red Bulls. So still on board with Mr. Dibber, why don't we switch up a little bit? Let's stay on board with Nicholas so that William can watch him 2 times, almost losing the car at the exit of turn 2. Also, Rails is losing a little bit of a time to Mr. Dibber because he started 25 second clear of the Red Bull list. Now the gap is 21. Mr. Dibber has gained 4 seconds in a matter of 9 laps. So in 45 laps Mr. Dibber should catch Aston Martin. So at the very end of the race, if the two continues on the same race pace, the Spaniard will be under pressure from the Red Bull, but I think Rails is just administrating this race, keep him in the same race pace as he always did. Just a slight little lock up there for Rails. Maybe got him a warning for exceeding track limits. Three-second time penalty for Nicholas. That's not the start he wanted for this final race. So now the gap between Rails and Mr. Dibber has stabilized to around 21 seconds. They're really lapping the same pace. Let's have a look at it. So Rails is lapping low 35s, and so is doing Mr. Dibber, just 1/10, 2/10 quicker. Just for reference, let's see also Nicholas lap times, and he's doing a little bit inconsistent, but made 35s. So he's just losing 2/10 per lap. That with a difference of compound, it's not that bad. I think he needs to start pushing quite soon. Needs to start pushing quite soon. Because soon we are gonna have the mediums faster than the subs in a matter of 5 laps or so, and that's when he's gonna gain the most time out of it. With almost Rails losing the car going into the pit. And in fact, Mr. Dibro has gained 8/10 of a second, even if it doesn't really matter at the moment. Also, Zabijaka is doing some interesting times. Let's compare them with Barks one to understand who is gaining on who. So Zabijaka is doing mid 35, lapping almost as the front drivers, while Barks is doing low 35s, almost 35-ish. So Barks is gaining 110, 2 tenths per lap on him. So still some good space between all the drivers. Everyone is running his own race. Mr. Debro is still lapping incredible the same pace as Rails, so they're all going. Every time I check, they are doing. The gap is still 20.7 seconds. It's really important also to work on the psychology of the drivers, because it's already hard to do 100% race. It's even harder to do a 200% race, incredibly harder. So it's also good to have someone next to you. Would be nice also to have it while commentating. So William, how is Nicholas doing? Is he chill? Is he stressed? Is he tired? Also. It's almost like real F1 where they pretty calm. I was saying it's pretty like F1 when you talk with the engineer. William is, I guess, Nicholas' engineer, and he's driving calmly. He's doing the Redmond and Mr. Debra is doing on the softs, but soon we're gonna have the crossover where the mediums are gonna be faster than the soft compound. And so Nicholas is surely gonna try and push and reduce this gap as much as possible. So we are on lap 15, or if you want to add the other 53 that we did before. You know he has a lot to lose, that's true. So it's not pushing hard. I guess it doesn't really... It's not risking the Drivers' Championship since Mr. Debra is looking quite calmly. but surely the constructor is a big thing. And if you can do damage limitation by only staying 2 points behind the Red Bull, if and only if Dire Shark points won't count, then Alpine will be crowned. I'm gonna leave Barks handle this situation. But maybe we won't be able to know since the decision are taken in a 40-hour window. 40-hour window. 24-hour window. Purple first sector for Mr. Dibro. He's pushing quite hard. There's a yellow flag. Ew is Barks' little hood. Oh, he's off turn 1, and so he lost all the time. He was managing to gain on Zabijaka. That's already third spin for British driver. Oh, he's settled in Dubai. Sadly for Barks, but he's still gonna maintain P5 since Mooman is well off Barks over 10 seconds. But now the gaps between him and Zabijaka is enormous, over 16 seconds. And he might have some damage to his front wing. Yeah, well, William from the Alpine garage says just keep it on the road, Barks. Just keep it on track. Because if Barks DNF and DNF points doesn't count, then the Red Bull will win the championship. 3-second time penalty for Reels. He was gaining a little bit on Mr. Dibro, but he pushed too hard. I'm lost on times. 3 seconds to be exactly. So 1/3 of this second race is gone. Well, Reels just crossed the line. We are 1:34.7, so I think the previous race they were lapping faster than this. So maybe they're a little bit tired, all the drivers, and we can tell because I've seen Barks spinning, and that's actually quite rare. And also is going off, so the Spaniard might be tired as well, while Zabijaka out of nowhere 1:34.5 fastest lap overall by being P4. So these softs might be at the very end of their lives. They just need to do other 3 or 4 laps to then put a brand new shiny set of mediums to complete the season. So now 22nd in the gap, minus 317, but Mr. Dibro is not pushing at all. Actually, it's not pushing hard. Since the only thing he needs to do to gain that £500 is to cross the line, whether in first or sixth position. You will get the prize money and also the title of Drivers' Championship of Season 2, replacing the World Champions Simopaz, that is holding this title since last game, and now he seems himself losing it. If he had joined one race before, then he might be able to still be in contention, but now it's not. So why don't we enjoy a little bit of a broadcast view? No, sorry, okay. With Bowman, we haven't been on board with Bowman very often, but credit to him, he's really driving with some good consistency. I haven't seen spinning as far as I can remember, and he's driving also not the very best car, good looking car, the Haas, with the Russian flag on it. An American car with a Russian flag, that's quite hilarious when I first saw the design of their cars. But still, Moman is doing a very good performance here in Japan. What is not performing very well is this game, because hopefully it's gonna be a better one going into next year, but we can't. Fastest lap overall, Real Survey 1:34.3. So it's now, let's see, let's have a look. It's the fastest time by 0.2 of a second over Zabijaka. Also, Nicolas first was very close to get the fastest lap, and Nicolas' fastest lap is 0.4 faster than Mr. Dibber's one. So since there is a lot of match to do, why don't we go to the race pace? Why don't we have a look at the race pace? Real Starvio starting. He's doing very inconsistent lap, but if I have to say something, I'll say mid 34. Mr. Debro is doing 35s, and Nicolas is doing high 34s, so he's gaining 0.2 every lap on his contender. Zabijaka is lapping quite nicely. Apart from last lap, he was lapping mid 34s, and he dives into the pit. Is Bowman. Then we have Barks, who was doing high 35s. So comparing to Zabijaka, who is doing mid 34, high 34s, is losing so much ground. Bowman is in the pit, and Vumax has retired. So Zabijaka is doing a really good job, and the slow lap was the in lap into the pit, and so was for Barks. Red Star V another 34.2, so he's pushing the softs to the limit to then pit for a brand new set of mediums, and in fact he has gained 1 second on Mr. Dibro. While Nicolas Boita is gaining a little bit, ever so slightly, on the Red Bull. but Rules is driving really good. And it's now getting closer to the house of Mooman, but not that fast enough, because Mooman he has his own pace and he's lapping nicely. And still Rills doesn't manage to get close to Mooman, who has brand new set of mediums, but is also a minute and 33 seconds behind. When I first introduced Rills to the lake while Mr. Dibro dives into the pit, uh, I didn't think he was the perfect guy, because I guess he had racing lying on, but he's really found himself confident, and he joined the same race as Simapaz, and they've always been on the very top 3, top 4 from mid-season on, so it will be an incredible fight between him and Nicholas and Mr. Dibro if he joined before. While we don't want really Zabishaka 133.5 on a brand new set of mediums. Fastest lap overall. That will be, I think, get beaten by Mr. Dibro very soon. As I was saying, we don't want Simapaz, since every time he races, he wins, and that's what he almost did in the first season. But almost. And there we go, Rills goes into the pit, and so Nicholas Boita may be our net P1 leader, but maybe it's a little bit too far off, and I think in fact Rills is gonna rejoin ahead of the Alpine driver. So now that's the time where the Alpine is gonna suffer, because with brand new set of mediums, Mr. Dibro is gonna reduce that gap quite quickly. It's about 16 seconds, and Nicholas has to push these mediums to get 15, maybe max 20 laps on the softs to squeeze them out and get the best out of it. Zabishaka on the fastest lap, 1:33.2, is really getting on with Japan, but Mr. Dibro is already 15.1 seconds, so he's gaining really quickly. Nicholas has to do other 10 laps or so on this compound, while Rills, Mr. Dibro have done their stops for today. So let's stay on board a little bit with Barks on the Alpine. This shiny blue car. Now Barks is just driving, I think, to end the race since 25 seconds. To Zabijaka are a little bit too much. As we are almost at the end of the third quart of the race.
by my calculation, there is still under an hour to go, or 50 minutes or so. It depends on how fast the lead guy is gonna push. But this is gonna be my last commentary for this season, and I'm actually quite sad about it. A bigger championship with more races fitting into the calendar will be great, but also if the championship is so tight in 9 rounds, 10 rounds or so, it gets the racing even better. Also the championship's fight comes down to the wire, and every small mistake, every race count. If you are not in a mood in a race, then it's gonna cost you quite a bit. And who have they had to train and build up their confidence, then you get really good at the game. So why don't we have a look also at some standings with the other guys. So I'll be back in a second just to bring my plate to the place it belongs, and I'll be back here soon while Mr. Rilston reveals it's another fastest lap. So, as I was saying, let's have a look at the standings. So, the non-top guys, if Real wins this race, then let me see, where is he? He is in P11 with 46 points. Then he will jump to 76, surely overtaking Vumax, Marcy, Warren, Tragster, Simapez, and Jules, while Barks is in P5, so will keep his place, so he will get to P5 in a matter of like 4 races he participated, or 5th, I remember. Another fastest lap for him, 1:32.7. You can watch it on the screen, but I can inform you. So he will get P5 in the championship, only racing half of the season. That's quite impressive. So let's have a look also at Mum Zabijaka, who is running in 4th place, and so will get 24 points. Zabi is... where are you, Zabi? Is he P18 with 21 points, so he will score more points in this race than the rest of the other 8 rounds, and he will jump up to 49 points, surely overtaking Galamani around Clay, Sandman, D-Power, and Eisenberg, so around P12, but Mooman will gain 4 points less, is 12 points ahead, so Mooman will keep his place. and jump himself ahead of Eisenberg behind Vumex and behind Marcy. While Barks, with those points in P5, he will get 22 points, going to 89 and overtaking this way Dershark, and Jules getting P3 in the championship. Dershark was the first one to retire, and it will get 12, while Barks, I say, will get 22. So in case Dershark points are valuable, then Dershark will head to P3, while Barks will sit in P4, just 2 points behind Dershark. So now Nicholas has pitted for a brand new set of softs and he's 11 seconds behind Mr. Dibro. There are 24 laps to go, so he might come short, but we will see. He's already gained half a second in the middle of a lap. When I put his on board, it was like 11 seconds, and it's now 10.3. So also on YouTube, the Division 2 is running. While we are here with Nicholas, who is trying to get closer and closer to Mr. Dibro every lap. So nothing much is happening on track, so as always, let me have a look at the race pace. With Stravillo starting with the first, who is running high 32s. Then Mr. Dibro, who is running mid 33s. Nicolas Boita, who is running, we need to see, but it's gonna be around mid 32s. What was the Rails doing? It was doing 33s. Then Zabijaka was doing really faster. It was mid high 33s. Then Barks was doing low 34s. And finally Bowman, who is doing mid 34s. One woman who hasn't been lapped yet, but the rails is surely coming. This shoulder's gonna be a slightly longer race since the pace is not the same as we saw in the first race. The drivers are surely pushing quite a bit less. Since they are consolidating goals only is they're finishing. That's given by the fact that no one is really fighting for the championship at the moment. The two Alpine needs to stay where they are in order to clinch the title if their short points won't be awarded, but also Mr. Dibro, even if he finished 6th on this race, he's still gonna win the Drivers' Championship, so I think he's very calm and he's very looking forward to those £500. Zabijaka 3-second time penalty, but he's not really catching Nicholas and he's pulling away from Barks, so nothing really happening. From the chat, go Nicholas Boitha, go Nicholas. Tell me if it's Boita or Boita. I don't know where the accent goes. I think Boita is the correct pronunciation. So now the gap is 6.4 between Mr. Dibro and Nicholas. He has gained a lot in the last 4 laps. He has gained 4 seconds and a half. So he's pushing quite hard. So let's stay on board a little bit with him. And I hope every driver's got his dinner before the race, because otherwise they will really feel quite bad. Maybe in the pause as I did between the first and the second race, while we were trying to set up the new lobby after it backed out. So here is Zabijaka, P4, and Alfa Romeo, very good performance. If he finishes P4, he's gonna be my driver of the day. I know there are many drivers missing, there were only 10, but I never seen him racing that fast and also that consistency, so is really showing something that I've never seen from him, and he's getting the base for the third season. Nicholas went 32.2, fastest lap overall on the soft tires. Both Thrills and Nicholas got 3 seconds now. I think Nicholas has 6. Let me see. And in fact, he has 6, and so does Thrills. And at the moment, the Aston Martin drivers won't be able to put a brand new set of softs, because otherwise Mr. Dibro will overtake him and gets P1. For the pit stop you lose around 20 to 22 seconds. Yeah, I can pit, but it will be risky, because if he does a mistake then his win is over, while it doesn't really matters to throw a win for a point. If he can manage to stretch the gap a little bit more, then the choice to put a brand new set of softs would be nice, but it has to be a late call, otherwise the Red Bull can cop him and try to go for another fastest lap as well, since I think Nicholas has the pace to catch Mr. Dibro. Maybe not to stretch a 6-second gap, but we will see. There are 17 laps to go, so anything can happen. So the gap is not going up, it's actually going down, so Mr. Dibro is gaining. So it's 25.6, but I don't see where it's interesting to get that fastest lap, which is held by, I think, Nicholas, if I'm not mistaken. In fact, he is 132.2, and to be honest, Thrills is not that far off. It's half a second, and when the the fuel tank is gonna be empty, he might have a chance of throwing all this battery in one lap. We will see. By that time we would like to on board with Barks. Why not? The British driver sitting in P5, minding his own race. After that spin early on, he decides that I will just finish the race. Sector 1 yellow. Ooh, Zabijaha in the gravel. But Barks is really far away. He's surely lost some big time, but Barks is well off. Now 20 seconds is the gap between Nicholas and Zabi, and so is from Zabishaka to Barks, other 20 seconds. Well, the gap between Mr. Dibro and Nicholas has gone down to 5 seconds, but the softs are already starting to lose a little bit of performance after 5-6 lap. This is the 8th lap that Nicholas have this compound on. He's surely gonna still improve and gain some other more time on the Red Bull, but maybe he will not have the tire advantage when it comes to stretch the 6 seconds gap. Three-second time penalty for Barks as well. So now Zabi is losing some time, Barks is gaining as well. And Zabi in fact goes into the pit and decides he has enough. Maybe Barks is gonna jump ahead of him, but with a brand new set of softs, Barks will surely go a little bit slower. And in fact he is jumping out of the Alfa Romeo, not by much, but he is now in P4 for a very brief moment, because the Alfa Romeo with a brand new set of softs will surely catch the Alpine. And also Rails has decided to go into the pit and is well clear of the Red Bull. Maybe not the best choice for Rails. He might have waited a little bit more, since I'm sure someone else is gonna try to pit later on. Ooh, what happened to Nicholas? Did he lost all this? I know he didn't lost time. It would just updating his time. It's 4.4 seconds, 4.5. He doesn't have quite the tires that he wanted, so I don't think he will be able to stretch that gap, and I think he's gonna pit to put another set of softs and try to do the fastest lap. And in fact Nicholas is losing some time. William, how does he feel, your driver? Is still in good shape? I think he has is the right time for him to pit. Maybe not now, maybe it's on lap 48, 49. He's tired. I can bet on that after he has done at the moment 94 laps and is looking to get the remaining 12. Shh. So Reels leading the way is now pulling away quite easily on Mr. Dibro. He still didn't manage to get the fastest lap that Zabijaka did with a 1:31.3. Also set it on his flashy new way softs. But still, maybe this is gonna be the lap, and it is not. It's gonna be still a 1:32.1. Maybe it's not pushing that much still. So 10 laps to go. Let's see what is gonna be the second sector of the Aston Martin. Well, Nicholas is losing ever so slightly, but I think his strategy is now to go into the pit on the very last occasion to force Mr. Dibro on track, otherwise he will get the position on him, so he's gonna pit around lap 51. Or at least that's the best choice that Nicholas has, in my opinion. Also Barks is not really losing. Oh, Rails 1:31.4, but that's still not enough because Zabi managed to do 31.3, so he needs to get another 10.5 if he wants that extra point. He should have waited a little bit longer, in my opinion. But still is proving to do a really good first sector. This gotta be improving. In fact, he has improved by a 10. I think these drivers are gonna remember Japan for a very long time, and probably hate it. If they go on a world record to Japan. they're surely gonna be ready. So let's see, his second sector is Real Survey improving to get that 1 point. He's lost 4 milliseconds, he needs another alpha 10 in this chicane. Not the very best chicane. Let's see if he's gonna have that fastest lap. And he is 1:31.2. So he's improved by 19 milliseconds, the fastest lap that Zabijaka did previously. But I'm willing to bet that Nicholas is gonna pit on lap 50 and 51 and get that fastest lap himself. Well, Mr. Dibro is skipping on the track on these mediums. Eight laps to go by the end of the season. Seven laps to go for rails and for the rest of the grid. I don't think anyone has been lapped at the end. Yeah, Mooman is well ahead of rails by 15 seconds. Let's show you how much these drivers have improved on a matter of race pace. But I'm sure they just want to finish the race because this has been a very long race for everyone. So we need to stay on board with Rails, the leader of our race, from like lap 10 to lap 99. This is gonna be when you cross the line. This is gonna be the 100 lap mark crossed. Yellow flag. Ooh, it's the Red Bull of Mr. Dubrow who has lost the car. And now Nicholas is getting closer. Ooh, Mr. Dubrow crucially. At the very end of these stages. Let's see if he does have damage. Let's go into the broadcast view with him, but he doesn't. He doesn't have damage. It all is pan out. But now Nicholas can provide us of a good show, as I told by the start of this 100% race. And now, in fact, Mr. Dubrow is suffering the pace that Nicholas has. Maybe Mr. Dubrow does have a small damage to his front wing, just enough to make Nicholas in contention to get the P2. You still need to stretch the 6 seconds, but we want to see this fight between these two drivers, the two title contenders, coming to the wire. By the end of the season 2, Mr. Dubrow goes defensive. Now Nicholas is gonna have good traction going here, but he doesn't take the best line out of it. He does have a lot of energy. Mr. Dubrow goes really defensive. Nicholas trying to get the slipstream with ERS on. ERS at his very limit, but Mr. Dubrow keeps the position. This is an intense fight. That's where, when we first start the season in Austria, with Mr. Dubrow and Drescher colliding, coming together. Now Mr. Dubrow is gonna leave the place to Nicholas, that is gonna get that P2, and the Red Bull driver may be tired, maybe the tires are going off, maybe does have a little some wing damage, but Nicholas gets P2 on track. I don't think he's gonna maintain that by the end of the race for that 6-second penalty, but still a very impressive comeback for the Alpine driver. And still he might try to go into the pit for a brand new set of softs. We will see what his decision is gonna be. And anyway, Reels managed to stretch other 24 seconds lead to the second drivers. Now Mr. Dubrow is the one trying the overtake. Nicholas sticks to the racing line. Mr. Dubrow goes down inside, but Nicholas holds around the outside, staying well in the track. And now there are only 3 laps to go, and the fight is still on. Mr. Dubrow is holding, and he's trying to stay in the DRS range. Four things dividing the two of them. Multi-Pirates with a question mark into the Division 2 group, because I think they ended the first race, the first 100% race. But let's focus on our end of the second 100% race, with Mr. Dubrow 4/10 behind Nicholas. Nicholas holding down inside. Mr. Dubrow's trying to have a look there, but the Alpine holds together and maintain P2 for another lap at least. 3 laps to go, 2.5 I should say. And Mooman at the end got lapped by Reels. Who gets 3 seconds? I didn't know this. Hopefully you can see. Oh, Nicholas got 3 seconds, so now he has 9. So does Zabijaka. Please don't spam in Division 2, otherwise we can see the standings here. We can see the gaps. Now Mr. Dibro is very close. He does have a lot of energy. 70% of VRS. And so does Nicholas. Nicholas does have more than 100%, almost 100%. And now he's gonna use it. But in fact he doesn't, because he thinks there is no needs to do that, and in fact he doesn't need to do that, because Mr. Dibro is too far off. 4/10 of a second, thank you reporters, to say to talk on Discord. We are almost at the final lap of the race, almost the final lap of Season 2. With 1.5 laps to go, Reels about to cut the chicane for the penultimate time. Sorry, not cut, to do the chicane for a penultimate time. A little bit tired after all, after all these laps. Mr. Dibro still very close to Nicholas, using all his energy now. Nicholas has to defend. But the Red Bull doesn't need to risk that much. He can be the champion also by sitting in P3. And he will be awarded of P2 because Nicholas does have penalty unless something happens here in turn where Nicholas goes around the outside, stays around the outside and gets another 3 seconds. Up to 12 now. There's a little bit of a misunderstanding in Division 2 on how does it work on endurance of a 200% race. Mr. Dibro, 0.2 of a second, really glued to the back of the Alpine. But why don't we focus on the Aston Martin of Rils Taravillo. He has been leading this race for so long, for over 80 laps, maybe 85, maybe 89, and he's doing the chicane for the very last time, and now he's gonna cross the line to win the Japan Grand Prix. The 9th round of the UKSS Dachau Beth Racing League ends with a 1:31.0 from Real Saravia, fastest lap and 31 points gain for the Aston Martin. That's the end of Season 2 for the UKSS Dachau Beth Racing League. Mr. Dibro is gonna become World Champion of Season 2. Very well done to Red Bull factory for producing Mr. Dibro and winning the Drivers' Championship for the first time, and he's gonna try surely to get also the constructor. It depends on Dershak points if they're valuable or not, otherwise it's gonna be Alpine on top of the constructor. And it came down to the wire with Nicholas fighting with Mr. Dibro till the very last lap, till the very last corner. How intense has this been this last season? A really great journey, and I'm really happy to have been part of it, and I'm really thankful to everyone who have tuning in in this season so far. We're only waiting for the good owner Bark Sultanhood who wave till the end of the second season. That's it, guys. Thank Julius. Awesome job, you two. Real Sarvia driver of the day. Well said, Codemasters. Incredible day for him, leading every single lap of the second race and almost every single lap of the first race, and that's the trophy for him. And these are the final standings for this race. They didn't change much from the start. Real Staravia started first, finished first. So did Mr. Dibra, so did Nicholas, so did Zabishaka, so did Barks, so did Mooman, and so did Vumax. So nothing really changed in the second race, but that's the endurance race. It has been really emotional. Really thankful to everyone who has tuned in every race. See you later on with the World Cup. Tune in for Division 2 because soon they're gonna start the second 100% race, and then for the third season with F1 2022 we're gonna see you on March. It's been an honor and see you soon.